You've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Someone gets a little bit of authority, and suddenly they're a completely different person. So today, we're going to dig into that. We're breaking down exactly how power changes people.
Okay, so let's start with a question that's probably a little too real for some of us. What happens when your friend becomes your boss? You know, the person you grab lunch with, the one you complain about work to, suddenly they're in charge. It's awkward, isn't it? And that one little question, well, it gets right to the heart of how power can totally reshape our relationships.
And yeah, that's exactly where we're going to start, when power gets personal. We're talking about that wild shift from colleague one day to commander the next. What does that actually do to a person?
So here's the scenario. Your close friend gets that promotion, they're your supervisor now. And at first, everything seems kind of normal. But then, slowly, they start acting a bit cold, a little distant. You know how it goes, right? The inside jokes just stop. The casual chats kind of fade away. And this big professional wall just goes up. That friendship that felt so equal now feels, well, strained. It's a really common thing, and honestly, it can be pretty painful.
And this quote from our source material man, it just nails it. I've seen friendly colleagues turn into strict managers who only care about results instead of people. That's the transformation, right there. It's that pivot from caring about relationships to only caring about the bottom line. It really feels like the person you knew has been swapped out for the job title they now have.
So why? Why do some people get so arrogant the minute they get a little power? Is there something just built into authority that makes people act this way? Let's get into the psychology behind it.
Okay, so here are the roots of that arrogance. First, people in power can start to feel untouchable, and pretty soon they start believing that they're always right. Why? Well, think about it. When you're the boss, people are way less likely to tell you you're wrong. You're basically in an echo chamber. And without those reality checks, it's super easy for your ego to just blow up. That humility you once had, it just kind of evaporates. And there's a term for this. It's called a power imbalance. It's pretty straightforward. It's just an unequal level of control in a relationship. And that imbalance is almost always what creates that distance, that feeling that you're just growing apart from someone you used to be close to. This all leads to a really important split, a big difference between genuine respect and, well, fear. Are people following you because they admire you, your character, your skills, or is it more of a fear-driven respect, where they're just playing it safe to avoid getting in trouble? That's not real respect, you know? It's just a survival tactic.
Okay, so this whole dynamic doesn't just happen in the office. Let's zoom out, because this stuff scales up, big time, when we get into the world of politics. We're talking about promises, pressure, and the trust of the public.
So, why on earth do politicians make such huge promises? We've all heard them, right? These grand, sweeping statements during an election. But what's the deal? Why do they so often promise the moon?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's all about winning over voters. To do that, they have to build this attractive, powerful public image, and that often means they'll say whatever it takes to get the job.
And this kicks off a cycle that feels, well, pretty predictable. Step 1, they make the promises needed to win us over. Step 2, they take power and reality kicks in. Then we get to step 3. Suddenly, their interests shift. Personal agendas, special interests, they start to take over. And the final step, step 4, is what we all feel. Our trust in the whole system just erodes. Yeah, and as the source material says, when politicians keep breaking promises, people lose faith in the system. This is the real danger. It's not just about one politician being dishonest. It has this corrosive effect on all of us. When this cycle happens over and over, we just stop believing in the system at all.
Now, to be fair, politics is a total pressure cooker. There's constant temptation. There are these incredibly powerful influence networks always at play. And over time, it's really easy for leaders to just kind of drift away from the actual everyday struggles of ordinary people. They get disconnected.
All right, so we've seen how this plays out in the office, and we've seen how it plays out in politics. And that brings us to the big one, the ultimate question about power.
So, does power corrupt? Or does it reveal? On the one hand, you have the classic idea that power itself changes people, that it turns them into worse versions of themselves. But on the other hand, there's this idea that power doesn't change you at all. It just reveals who you truly are. It gives you the freedom to let your true character come out.
And this quote really leans into that power reveals idea. It says, kind people often become better leaders, while selfish people show their true face when they finally take control. So think of power like a magnifying glass. It just makes bigger what's already there. If you're a good person, it amplifies that. If you're selfish, well, everyone's about to find out.
Okay, so is it just inevitable? Is anyone with power doomed to be either corrupted or revealed as a terrible person? Or are there ways to hang on to who you are? That brings us to our last section. How do you stay grounded?
So what are the antidotes to this whole power problem? Well, a few things seem to keep leaders grounded. For one, having strong moral values to begin with. Also having reminders from family and trusted friends, people who aren't afraid to tell you when you're getting out of line. And finally, and this is a big one, having strict public accountability to keep that power in check.
Which leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling question to think about. If you took away all of those things, all the accountability, all the friends and family, could a good person really stay good if they had unlimited power? It's a question that gets at the very core of human nature, isn't it?